Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again, and welcome to The Roads with Belle. So today, we're going down the roads to how to keep track of your representatives. Recently, in a video about a congressperson who just dropped off the grid for months, we talked about the need for better civic engagement, and there was a number of questions and comments. Some not really knowing what civic engagement is in the broader sense. There will be an impartial points video down below on that. And some of the questions were more narrow in focus, saying there isn't a way to stay up to date on your representatives in the ways you might like. Well, I've got you. You're going to learn about a bunch of sources we use, and you can too. We are not affiliated with any of these sites. So, we're going to start with govtrack.us. This is one of the better ones for keeping track of your representatives and senators and what they're doing. If you don't know your rep, there's even a feature to help you find that out. This site has been around for about 20 years and has obviously evolved with the times. It's not an official government site, which means it's user-friendly. This site lets you pull info by searching for bill number or name, legislator, or even just keywords. When digging into specific legislators, it keeps track of all of the basic stats, to include their missed votes. It'll even show it as a percentage. One of the cool things the site has is an ideology score of candidates that's based on which bills they co-sponsor. It's interesting because sometimes they'll surprise you, and sometimes they won't. Like Manchin and Sinema basically score out to be Republicans. There's also a leadership score that looks at how other people sign on to their legislation. It's useful stuff that gives you better information than a lot of talking heads. You can see recent and upcoming legislation. You can see votes by party and break it down to see votes by representatives. It also has a prognosis that gives you an idea of whether or not it'll pass. I will say we're more accurate on that topic, but we're only doing a select handful. They do every single bill. It's easy to hand chart votes when you get to pick and choose which ones you're doing. Something I personally find interesting is a map it creates with yes or no votes recorded by congressional district. When you're looking at a specific piece of legislation, you can see sponsors, co-sponsors, the full text, and it gives you a brief history of its progress and so on. The site also lets you search by interest. If you have a particular interest in, let's say, civil rights, you can filter by just that topic. Another thing you can do is create an account and sign up for alerts on topics you're interested in. Now, on to a site I know we've talked about before, opensecrets.org. The best way I've heard this described is it lets you know who owns your senator. It covers most elected officials and the donations, super PACs, donors, and so on. It's a wealth of information. If you haven't been there in a while, it's gotten a facelift and it's easier to navigate now. As you go deeper into it all, you can learn about the Federal Register, which is federalregister.gov. And that's where a lot of rules that are based in legislation get published. There's a comment period you can use, but it needs to be submitted via regulations.gov. Both of those, as you might have guessed, are official government sites. Those should give you a really good starting point as far as resources go. Just remember that civic engagement goes way beyond just the electoral process. If we ignore our civic responsibilities, except for every 2 to 4 years, we can't be surprised when our elected officials ignore us, except for every 2 to 4 years. So, those sites should give you a little more information, a little more context, and having the right information will make all the difference. Y'all have a good day.